If your employees have been with you over a year and you're not compensating them correctly, this could end up costing you hundreds of thousands of pounds as a business owner. And you don't want to be there. So today, Millie and I were thinking about the incentive benefits system of our like pay grade scale of our tutors for our company and what that is going to look like. Because what's really interesting, most people's first assumption when it comes to retaining people is that people will stay for the money. It's just not true. People really don't care about the amount they earn. Because if they did, let's be honest, they'd be changing job. They'd be changing career path, is the reality. Like, no one in their right mind would be a teacher. Would be, I don't know, would work in manual labour. Like, everyone would go and be an investment banker or work in finance or consultants or the areas where you can much more easily earn 6 or 7 figures in a job. But most people don't do that because money is nowhere near as much of a driver as you would imagine, even for the people who say it's their sole motivator. It's just not true. Where have I got this knowledge from? Hiring 25 salespeople and none of them being motivated by money, which is wild. Like, they were willing to do their job to, earn their base salary, but they weren't willing to go over for commission. And even now we've got commission guys on the team who are doing really well, but rather than push to work full time and earn a really good salary, like double average, instead they'd rather work half the time and have the rest of their life back. And that's the reality for most people. And hey, that's the situation I feel like I'm in right now too. It's like, I don't want to push and use all of my time to get there. I'd rather enjoy some of it a little bit. So if the pay packet is not what's going to motivate them, how do you keep people around? Well, today we've come up with a three-tiered system by which we are likely going to implement it for our team going forwards. So the first one is tenure. You should reward people for tenure. And I know it's difficult as a business owner, let's be real here. If someone is not bringing you more value, why should they be paid more? Great question. And unfortunately, as true as that is, I think you will shoot yourself in the foot if you don't foot the bill. By that, what that is going to have to look like for you is to be on top of your price raises each year. Keep increasing the value, keep making your product or service better so that you have the budget to pay the staff who have been with you longer more money. That's it. They do need to be paid more over time because of inflation. They're getting older, they're having different ideas of what they want to do with life, etc. So like, pay increases, as much as I hate to admit it without adding extra value, are a necessity. Unless you're happy with a high churn team. And that's okay. If the thing that you do is relatively quick and easy to teach, and for a new person to come in at, then great. The reality of our team is that no one's ever going to get much better than they get at their 6-month point. Once they've been with us 6 months, they're pretty much at the plateau of as good as they're going to get. Is the realistic expectation, because these guys have experience, they've come in already good, and now we are bumping them up to great and implementing our systems with them. And it's not that hard to do. And so the trade-off for us becomes, what sort of culture do we want in the team? And is it worth the financials of having to recruit new people, train them, and then switch over to a new tutor, which will increase churn? And that math is really difficult to do. So I think in the region of, 7 to 10% as a salary increase is going to be a good one. That's a good place to start, I think, based on the numbers that we've been looking at. And roughly every 18 months is where we've come to. So I think every year is too soon for it, is just too regular, and it becomes a bit of a business risk. much longer than 18 months, and all of a sudden people start getting itchy feet and they're like, what's happening? I'm reevaluating my life, la da da da. As I feel like 18 months is that sweet spot, but this is not from a point of experience or trial and error. This is our initial gut feeling. So first one, paying people for tenure. Most obvious, classic progression, as expected. The next one, this one is way more interesting, is the less tangible stuff. And I think this is what will keep people in the job for a very long time, rather than the pay increase. The pay increase allows them, the tenure pay increase, how long they've been with you, allows them to continue to live the life they have lived up until now. This next one should be systems within your company that shouldn't cost you much more to give them, but drastically increases their quality of life. So as an example, Millie's mum works for the council, and she's super flexible. She's got these amazing benefits. Her work is very simple. She can do it when and whenever, and it allows her to be a professional skydiver. And for her to trade that to go start somewhere else is such a massive barrier to entry. So she stays massively underpaid because of these additional perks. So what perks are we thinking about? We've had a suggestion of hitting KPIs and earning additional holiday days. Now, the way that we've built our tutoring system is additional holiday won't cost us any more money, which is pretty cool. So that's a great one. And we're thinking of implementing a system here where, I'm not sure, every KPI they hit, they get a couple of hours off. And then once at their review call check-ins, it happen every 6 weeks. And so over 3 or 4 months, they might add an extra day or two across that quarter or across the year, which is small, but is a nice little bonus. And especially as it doesn't cost us anything to fulfill, is quite big. Then the next thing we've got is we already offer gym allocation, gym allowances, office allocations, all this sort of stuff. But increasing those and making those more specific and unique, thinking of along the lines of, we'll get you a new phone each year or a new laptop, or we can increase your gym budget because not everyone uses it, so we can utilize it individually. Stuff like that. Stuff that you think, oh, that's really cool, that people will talk about as they're like, oh, it's so good, I get to do this with my job. That's the thing that will keep people over money. So those first two, pretty common. Now the next one, the third one, this comes from a corporate perspective. So in the Big Four, there's this thing that everyone has to do. I think it's called BD, business development. Everyone has to do 2 of these projects every year. It's just an expectation on top of your work. And so we are thinking, if you are someone who's looking for this, who wants to earn above and beyond the role that you just do now, rather than just being great at the thing you do, how can we do that? Because if you're not giving us any more value, how are we going to pay you more money? So the idea here is to turn them into like essentially how Starbucks have a coffee master. You can do a course and you get a different coloured apron, you get a different title, and you get a few different perks. But with it is additional pay. So what we were thinking of is doing some business development, a project that we work together with to come up with the idea, and then the individual will take ownership. And then they have, say, 6 months to complete this, and the task should increase revenue generation for the company in the long term. This has a couple of interesting things. Hopefully, one, it actually increases the company's revenue more than what you pay them. That would be amazing. The other thing is it may increase efficiency or decrease activation costs or acquisition costs, stuff like that. But the other big part of this is that it gives your employees ownership over the business. Now, it's not ownership in terms of shares, but it's ownership in terms of sentimental ownership. I have this thing that you can see I have built for our company, and they don't own it, but they take ownership of it. That's the key difference. And that then gives them buy-in for these people to stay with you long term. And now it might be something as simple as adding, if you do one of these things, like there'll be a list that we would come up with of ideas, but everyone could always come to us with ideas that we could then approve. But these things might be, hey, we currently don't have a social media. So starting a social media arm, and saying, that's a project and that's going to be your ongoing thing. And we want to get to, I don't know, this many views that give us this many bookings. That would be, and we could just track it through UTM parameters to see, like, is this actually working? And if we hit those KPIs within a time frame, then you will unlock this next level, this Coffee Master, this Tutor Pro Max Plus R, where for now, forevermore, you will get paid an additional $5,000 a year for being one of our gold tier tutors or one of our expert tutors, or because we already have a tutor team lead, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they get a special recognition publicly and to their pay packet and then ownership of the company as well. That is a really smart way to keep employees engaged. And this is exactly what we're going to be looking into in the future months when we've got our accounts done and having a look at what can we afford to do here to incentivize. And so if you think about this, probably on average, giving someone this Pro Max Plus title might add, I don't know, 2 to 3 years, I would hope, onto the lifetime of that employee. And there are so many stats out there of it costs $20,000, $20,000 to $40,000 or something to hire someone. So if you make a mistake, it's a big problem. And with our sales team that just happened, that's definitely true. We hired 10 guys net. It cost in the region of £200,000, £100,000 in cash, and then 8 months of additional work for 2 people. It was wild. And so that is very much reality of how much it costs. And so would you pay an extra 10 to 15 grand to your best performers, your highest earners, etc., to keep them for a few years longer before having to replace them? And with our goal being to sell the company in not too much of a longer time frame than that, I think the answer is very obviously yes. But those are all my thoughts put together on this topic of, it's really hard. I have found it very difficult emotionally to create a system like this, to create this separation between value and like output and earning, because that's not how the world works on the other side. But we can hybrid a system here that can get that outcome for both the business and the employee as well. So just some food for thought here. And hopefully this is going to be good for me to look back on when I forget this inevitably, to remember, oh yeah, those are the plans that we have. And I don't know what they're going to look like exactly, but those are some of the ideas that we were spitballing today. I'd be really interested if anyone else watching this who runs a business like ours has any, runs a business doing, I don't know, 1 to 10 mil, how you guys do that sort of employee progression. So yeah, thinking of 3 basic pillars: tenure, outcome, or like performance. So sorry, monetary for tenure, additional bonuses for like rewards, incentives for KPIs, being good at your job, and the last one, essentially BD and getting a new title. So there we go. Those are my thoughts. That was a fun one. Have a great one, guys. Peace.